How can I get started investing in real estate? And when you're asking yourself this question, you really have to answer this really, you have to ask yourself this one question. What do you have more of? Do you have more time or do you have more money? That's really the root of the question on which method you can go about it. If you have both, you have the world at your disposal. You can do so many things. Usually it's hard to get yourself in a position where you have both. And if you have none, if you don't have any time, if you don't have any money, you're probably not going to be able to seriously invest in real estate. But let's talk about if you have one or the other, right? If you're thinking about investing in real estate and you have a lot of time, but you don't have a lot of money, you can probably do things where you can be more time intensive. For example, flipping. When you have a lot of time, but you don't have a lot of money, flipping is probably your first method that you can go down. Now you're probably wondering, you need a lot of money to flip. You got to pay contractors, pay a lot of, a lot of items in order to get a home ready because you're dealing with houses that are messed up and you need a lot of money to fix them up. So you're like, how am I supposed to do that if I have a lot of time but not a lot of money? The thing is with flips, you could find money anywhere. You can find a lot of hard money lenders, which basically means lenders that are going to give you money. It's going to be a high interest rate, but it's going to be a short-term loan to give you money to fix up the house or fix up the property, whatever it is. But if you have a lot of time, you're able to find those deals. You're able to find a great flipping property, and once you have that property, you can show that to other investors. You're going to be like, "This is a great deal. I'm going to give you some money. I'm going to lend you some money to try this out and make sure you can fix up this property." Now, again, flipping is a very time intensive if you're just starting out. Unless you have contractors in the family, unless you know people in your family who are contractors who can do all the work for you and you can trust, you're going to be using your hands a lot. You're going to be going to the property a lot, making sure the contractors know what you're doing, making sure if you're doing it yourself, you know what you're doing, and it's a lot of time. It's very time intensive. If you're thinking about investing in real estate and you have a lot of time but not a lot of money, you can usually figure it out when it comes to flipping. Now, if you have a lot of money, but you don't have a lot of time, again, this is just if you're starting out, okay? Because down the line, once you get more experience, you can play around with this a little bit more. But once you're starting out, if you have more money, but you don't have a lot of time, you're probably going to go down the route of rentals. Because rentals, you can do that when you have a job. When you have a job or a family, you can get involved in rentals a little bit more easier. You don't have to be on site all day. You don't even have to be on site all week. Once you get a rental property, you're pretty much putting the systems in place at the start. And then once you know what you're doing, it's pretty much, going by the property once a month. It's very much on autopilot until tenants come out and the summer season's over. So if you have a lot of money, but you don't have a lot of time, you're probably going to go into rental property investing, right? Because you can do that. Usually when you invest in real estate, you need 20 to 25% down payment in order to buy a property. And so make sure if you have money, but you don't have a lot of time, you're probably going to go into rentals so that you can buy properties, grow your money. It's going to take a little bit longer, but that's okay because you don't have the time to invest, but you have the money. So that's when you're going to go into rental property investing. So remember to ask yourself when you're thinking about investing, what do you have? Do you have time or do you have money? If you have a lot of time, you're probably going to do flipping. That's how you're going to create a lot of money short term, but it's going to be very time intensive to get in there, fix the home. Not just fixing, but finding the deals, finding the right deals that are good candidates to flip. If you have a lot of money, you're probably going to go into rental property investing. You don't have a lot of time to be on the property, but you're able to have that cash for that 20 to 25%. I would plan for 25% unless you find a good lender. You find a lender who you're planning on working long term with, who will give you a 20% down payment option. You don't find that often, but sometimes they do give you that option if you're thinking about investing long term in rental properties. So make sure to ask yourself that. If you're thinking about investing, which one of those two things do you have more of, time or money? And that will really kind of dictate which method you're going to go about. So if you have any questions on that, any questions at all, feel free to shoot me a DM. Let me know what questions you have so we can help you out. Otherwise, hope you're enjoying your Bears Victory Monday. This might be the only Monday I wear this sweatshirt. Honestly, they always get our hopes up every Monday, but we'll see how the season goes. Anyway, I hope you guys have a dry Monday, and we'll talk to you later.